LBC.
The Peregrine.
Ferrari now. 0345 6060 973. LBC. At breakfast on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
I'm asking, what have you learnt about the European Union as a result of the war of words? Although hopefully peace has broken out. Claudine will be talking to you about that in a moment. Also, is it the end of the department store? These closures confirmed by John Lewis, 1,400 plus jobs in the balance. There's no point in saying, when did you last go to John Lewis? You can't go to John Lewis at the moment, I don't think. But what does it mean? Anthony in Nottingham. Anthony, what do you want to say? Farewell, House of Fraser, British Home Stores, John Lewis. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Nick. First time caller, huge fan. Me and my housemate listen to you every morning. We argue about various subjects.
Okay, good to have. How long have you been listening, Anthony?
I've been listening the last couple of years, probably 2 years.
Great to have you on board.
The reason my call, Nick, is the family worked in John Lewis. I had my first job at 18 at John Lewis. My stepdad's been there 38 years. My mum worked there in the beauty department, although it wasn't John Lewis, it was for Chanel, but still within John Lewis.
Sure.
Just want to say it's very sad. My stepdad literally last year moved to Waitrose.
Oh, right.
Which I don't know how Waitrose are doing, but it seems to be a little bit better. So when we're talking about placements, they moved him to Waitrose. He went voluntarily.
Yes.
But it seems like he's gone the calm before the storm.
Look, they once said if you heard a nuclear bomb was on the way, you'd want to head to John Lewis because nothing goes wrong in John Lewis. You all feel safe.
Yeah,
were they a good firm to work for?
I used to work there.
Were they a good?
Yeah, and it's just like the customer service,
yes, I agree.
and everything. And it's a bit sad. It's maybe the death of the high street because where I'm from, Nottingham, John Lewis is staying open, but it's the only department store. House of Praise has gone.
Yep.
Devon's has gone.
Yep.
There's nowhere else. If you want to go and see somebody and buy a TV.
Yeah.
Without going online.
I know. Well, the trouble is, lastly, and I'm sure you're aware, they go to John Lewis to look at the TV, they get the price, or House of Fraser, then people, and you can't blame them, people then shop around and get it cheaper delivered by that firm you just mentioned, don't yeah. It's going to be a massive hole. Anthony, thank you. Best wishes to you and to your housemate. Thank you for finding the show. We'll talk again soon. Claudine, we'll talk vaccines in a moment. But let's look at a government initiative that's being announced today that concerns babies and children's so-called healthy development. Here with details behind the headline, Children's Minister and Conservative MP, Vicky Ford, who joins me now. OK, Minister, what does this actually mean in practicality for my listeners? Good morning.
Morning, and thank you so much for having me on today. And it's a really important day when my colleague Andrea Leadsom has been leading a review into those first very early stages in a child's life, a review that looks at from the very start of pregnancy through the first 2 years of a child's life and how we can improve support and services for families at that critical time. I know as Children's Minister, those first years of a child's life are so important. They're key stages to early development, and that, for example, is why we kept nurseries and preschools open to all children during this latest lockdown, because they're absolutely the building blocks for life.
But what does it mean in practical terms for my listeners who might be about to have a baby or have young children? What can you sort of give specific details, Minister?
So it comes up with a number of recommendations. One of which is that in this vision we set out is that in every local area, the local area should publish their own sort of start to life report that shows the new parent, where to access key services that they may need and how to get that support that they may need. And then also, I don't know if you're a parent yourself, parents will remember that red book that you carry with your child everywhere. That's that paper record, and it gets all tatty and you have to take it. And if you lose it, what a nightmare, you've lost your child's record. So one of the commitments in this review is to digitise that, to make sure that any person who's helping to support your child's health in those early years can get access to all those important records in a digital format. So that's very helpful. And then one of the things that I have been doing as Children's Minister and the government's been doing is championing a family hub approach, so that, again, a family can go either digitally or in my constituency, in a real place, to go and access all the different services that may be there for them, whether they're public sector services or indeed bringing together those voluntary organisations that are there.
While I have the benefit on the line, just a couple of other things. As Children's Minister, I'm sure you've seen the front page of The Guardian with concern. Exclusion rates for black Caribbean students in English schools are 6 times higher than those of their white peers in some local authorities, the newspaper's discovered. A response to that?
So obviously we take this whole issue extremely seriously. We do have a very, very strong behaviour culture in our schools, which we do encourage that. So for example, if a child has been excluded or expelled from school, to make sure though that they can get access to a really good education.
But why do we suppose this is? 6 times higher for black pupils?
So we obviously look at different rates and how attendance works for different groups, and we've been driving up and making sure that we can be having the best education from all of those from different groups.
Okay, let's try another one then. Do you agree that children should be vaccinated, Minister?
So at the moment, the top priority is obviously to vaccinate adults.
No, I realise that, but children, once we get the AstraZeneca results in June or July, would you agree 6 and 7-year-olds and above?
Well, let's see what the results show. We are absolutely being guided here by the evidence and by results throughout, which is why we've prioritised. Obviously, children are vaccinated for many, many things.
Indeed.
I would encourage anybody that is called up for a vaccine to take the vaccine. I mean, it's so important that we vaccinate children against, measles, which has been such a killer disease in the past.
And lastly, Minister, I've no idea whether you frequent them, but do you think it's necessary to have a pass of some sort to go to the pub?
Well, obviously, I want to get back to the pub with my friends as much as everybody else. And I know there's been a lot of focus on this today, Nick.
Yes.
So when we announced the roadmap towards coming out of lockdown, we also announced that we would be doing reports into 4 different areas, one of which is whether or not you use certifications to help bring that lockdown.
Minister, my question was, do you agree with the idea?
So I think we need to wait for that review. It's got lots of different ethical questions, etc. But it is being done. It has been promised that will be there before that final stage of the lockdown in June. It will look at testing and whether or not, you should have proof that you've been tested recently, as well as other things. So
I will leave it there. I'm sorry for time reasons. Sorry to cut you off. Vicky Ford, thank you. Conservative MP and Children's Minister appearing here on LBC, where the time is 3 minutes before 8. Claudine is in Muswell Hill. Let's come back to the vaccine. What have you learnt about the European Union, or indeed perhaps Boris Johnson? Good morning.
Well, good morning, Nick. I'm a correspondent for one of the largest European networks, and I've been living in the UK for nearly 30 years, so I have a more balanced view on all of this.
Okay.
What
country of origin, then?
I'm originally from Germany. I was born in Germany, but I've been living in England I've got dual nationality.
Okay, very interesting.
My life is here, and I consider myself British as much as I consider myself European. But what we're dealing with here are completely 2 different styles of leadership, and I think it's important for us to consider that. Boris has been incredibly lucky. He's a risk taker, and he's a bit of a gambler. He decided that he was going to go ahead and approve the AstraZeneca vaccine over here very, very quickly.
He didn't approve it. I'm so sorry. He didn't approve it.
So the British Medical